Am I sparkling? Am I sparkling? Look at me. I'm pretty. Tell me I'm pretty. Tell me I'm pretty. My feeling for that day. Oh, I was doing the vacuuming. I felt something loose at the front of my mouth. I'm like, oh no! And then my front tooth filling came out. Very sad. It's the 19th of November 2025. I thought about this the other day. I think about this from time to time. I bought a JBL speaker system, home theatre system in 1999. Actually, I bought it in 98, unnecessarily. What happened was, before that, I had a CD player, portable CD player with some headphones. Used to buy CDs back in the good old day, back in the golden era, back in the days of CDs. Who am I to talk? I love Spotify. Been through a couple of revolutions. I used to love listening to Physical Graffiti and Houses That Are Holy, Holy, and Led Zeppelin 2 on CD, in my portable CD player. When I lived at home with my parents at Park Street, Campsie. I was very content with it, very content with it. Now, Richie had 2 JBL speakers. He had 2 of them, and they were good for him. Anyway, I was very contented with my CD player, and I didn't have the Apple headphones back then. Whatever headphones I had, I was very contented with them. I thought they were fantastic, which is why I don't know why I did what I did. And then one day, I was like, I feel like an upgrade. I want to get 2 JB Hi-Fi speakers, which were about yay big, like that big. Maybe that was one that was that big. And I thought, I'm going to get two of them for my room. Also, I had my ghetto blaster at the time too, so I would plug my CD player, the portable one, and plug it into my ghetto blaster outlet. So I already had the ghetto blaster speaker, which is perfectly sufficient, really perfectly sufficient, perfectly sufficient, which was perfectly sufficient. It was really great that way. And one day I decided I was going to get 2 speakers. And I ended up saying to Richie, I want to get 2 speakers for my room. 2 maybe JBL ones or something. He went, oh yeah? He said, I'm the guy I talked to, because Richie at the time worked for Bing Lee. He'd been through a few companies. And it ended up, I went out to this warehouse in Bankstown, this showroom place, and I just wanted, looking back now, I think I should have just said no thanks. I should have said no thanks. And I went there, and these guys showed me JBL home theatre system. And they showed me the home theatre system, which was impressive at the time for a lounge room, for an actual lounge room, not my bedroom. And this guy's like, yeah, there's all this. I somehow got coerced, convinced into buying this $999 5-speaker home JBL home theatre system. Richie said, "Oh, you got a bargain, you got a bargain." And the guy at the showroom said, "You got a bargain, mate, bargain." And it must have been in December. It could have been in December that I got this. And I was like, I think this is a bit much. This is a bit elaborate, a bit much. I was gullible. I I purchased it. It was on 15 months interest free. I didn't have to pay a cent for 15 months. They thought it was the best thing ever. In retrospect, it was the worst thing ever. Took it home, set it up, immediately had second thoughts. I said to Richie, because he came over, he said, "Oh, the sound system." I said, "Oh, slowly setting it up, slowly setting it up." And because with Richie, he'll tear it apart on the spot and just start. I'll look at the packaging for, like, for instance, this is my new laptop. This is my new, it arrived 2 days ago. I just haven't unwrapped it yet. This laptop here is probably about 6 years old. This laptop is about 6 years old. I'll look at the packaging. I'll just look at it in its box for sometimes a week. We went for a drive in his car, and I think I whinged about it, and he said, "I don't know what you're complaining about. You're a bargain. In the sense you got a bargain." And I think Frank was in the back of the car, and Frank said, "Yeah, man, good system, man." He didn't really care for that sort of stuff. He had his ghetto blaster, which was perfectly fine. So was my ghetto blaster, perfectly fine. My ghetto blaster was perfectly fine. And I ended up setting it up by myself. First thing I played was Queen's, a song I put Queen CD in. I cannot handle Queen. My partner, nor myself. Anytime a Queen song comes on in the car, I just cannot handle it. As well as our least favourite band of all time, the band that we dislike. Actually, I want you to guess what this is. My least favourite band of all time. We actively dislike this band. I used to listen to them a lot in yesteryear, and I was just thinking of my favourite band. Well, my favourite band is Guns N' Roses. That's my favourite band, sentimental favourite. Then Ozzy and Sabbath. But my least favourite band of all time. When they come on the radio in the car, we instantly change the channel within 3 seconds. And absolutely, you too, loathe them. And anyway, as well as Queen, these days cannot hear a note of Queen. Why? Because of Bohemian Rhapsody. So because of Bohemian Rhapsody, we don't like any Queen song. Anytime that Queen comes on in the radio in the car, the channel gets changed instantly. And so I put on, because there was a time, yes, which is probably track 6 of Chinese Democracy. There was a time. There was a time where I did listen to, never had an over-appreciation of them, but I used to listen to them casually. And that other band, which I just in yesteryear, like again in the 90s and the early 0s. Okay, I put on Queen's Greatest Hits. And the first song I played on the JBLs the first song that was played was It's a Kind of Magic. And they were very impressive speakers, very impressive, but not for my room. Not for my room, for a lounge room, or maybe a function place. Not for my room. And Richard was excited because I gave the company that he was associated with the sale. The sales guys were excited because they were getting money from me eventually and ended up making interest on that. And I was like, I think this is too much. And Mum was like, oh, that's elaborate. And I had a perfectly good ghetto blaster with a perfectly good compact CD player. And this, I've still, had the JBL amplifier came with it. And it was gluttonous overindulgence. And at the showroom, if I could travel back in time now, at the showroom I would just say, it's been nice to see this today. I think it's a very good system, but it's not for me. And they would have went, oh mate, well, it's for I just want something small for my bedroom. My ghetto blast is perfectly fine. I don't need this. But I'm sure someone like that, and they would have went, oh, all right. Oh. Absolutely did not need it. And I got it. And my sister, who was living at home at the time, she was impressed by it. She was like, oh, she said, that's elaborate. And I think even 2 weeks later, I said to Richard, I can't do it. He said, oh, can't do what? I said, the JBLs, they're too much. He's like, oh no, dude, you got a bargain. Like, he said, if you retake now, it affects my reputation. At that time, I shouldn't let it even go that far. He was like, dude, he said, geez, I'd be all grateful if I was you, and being like, oh, thanks, Richie, for recommending this. All grateful, less whingy. And I was like, even to this day now, he'd be like, yeah, if I mentioned it to him, he'd be like, that bargain, you got that time, that bargain. It wasn't a bargain. He said to me, he said, dude, you got 30 months to pay it off. Work for a month, it'll be paid. It didn't work that way. No pun intended. I was at Sega World Sydney at the time. I am going to make a new documentary about Sega World Sydney. A reprised one, won't take 95 pieces of footage this time. Yes, this is going to go longer than for 15 minutes today because I'm going to verify my channel. Because most of the videos, I'm so conscious of keeping it under 15 minutes, and I'm going to verify my channel so I don't have to keep it under 15 minutes. And because when I don't have to keep it under 15 minutes, I can just relax a bit more. Otherwise I'm like, what can I fit into there? And I think, oh, I'm up to the 10-minute mark left. So what happened was, oh, that fell out, did it? No, it didn't fall out. Let me just... So how did this work out, you ask? I'll tell you. Darlings, I'll tell you. Actually, what happened was, about 2 years ago now, I went to, on YouTube, I went to this JB Hi-Fi page about speaker systems and all that, and had this massive rant. I told this story in the comments, thinking that everyone would be like, share, like, read it, acknowledge it, and say, oh yeah, I totally understand. And not did I. 6 months later, some guy commented, what the fuck? Like, I require more than that, require a lot more than that as a response. I poured my heart out. It probably took me an hour to write the post, and I require a, like, maybe 2-paragraph response to that from someone saying, I totally relate to that experience. Oh yes, totally understand. And so I think it's still up there. what happened was I got used to them. My ghetto blaster is still under my old bedroom at Park Street. My ghetto blaster is still under the bed. Probably still very usable. But ghetto blaster was fantastic. Frank had a terrific ghetto blaster. Richie was always into all the latest stuff. I guarantee if I was to mention to Richie now, if I was to just bring it up, he'd be like, oh yeah, he'd be like, that bargain you got, it wasn't a bargain, it was a burden, it was an absolute burden. I think somewhere around 2000, I didn't realise at the time, but when I played, I think everyone else could hear it. I used to be pretty loud with it sometimes, and I was a bit obnoxious with it at sometimes. And I remember after a couple of these, one of the tweakers broke. I was like, I better. So there's about 2 tweakers in it. I think 3 of the speakers still work, or 2 of the speakers still work. I'm thinking, will I get it fixed one day, or is this too heavy for me now? I think I might just completely part ways with the whole thing one day. It's part ways with the whole thing. I don't think I want to get it fixed. In retrospect, it was not a bargain. Have you ever purchased something like that, got coerced into it, or vulnerable toward it, you got coerced into it, and you were like, no, and you took it back. Actually, it did take something back. This is why I like going longer than 15 minutes. We lived in Goulburn in 2000 and we left Goulburn, born and raised, I lived in Sydney all my life, born and raised in Sydney, but we went apart from ourselves. We moved to Goulburn in 2018. Anyway, I think it was December of 2018, we went to Harvey Norman in Goulburn, and we were going to buy a sound bar. So we paid $2,000 for a sound bar. Got it home to 10 Joshua Street. Now don't go stalking 10 Joshua Street. We're not there anymore. We left there in 2019, late 2019. Don't knock on the door asking for autographs from me. Darlings, don't turn up on the doorstep there and ask for an autograph. I won't be there. Set it up. It sounded terrible. The very next, my partner, she said to me, Michelle said to me, what are we going to do? Oh, she said we should just march it right back into Harvey Norman Goulburn in front of everyone, ask for the refund. They won't want drama. That's exactly what we did. The very next day, because I hadn't really, I hadn't thrown anything away, the very next day we marched it. Can I just make sure that I'm not on mute or anything? Listen, right? Listen. The very next day, we drove down there. The very next day, we drove to Harvey Norman and we marched it right into the sales room again. And we said, good morning. Good morning. We just purchased this the other day. Just purchased this like 2 days ago, 48 hours ago. Want to get a refund? And they were like, it was like, I said, purchased this 48 hours ago, soundbar. And he said, I'll have to get the manager. Or he was the manager, I can't remember now what happened. And he sort of opened it, he looked at it, and he said, anything wrong with it? I said, no, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just that it's a sound bar and we just want a standard amplifier speaker system. We'd like a refund, please. Nothing's damaged. barely about 48 hours, and he looked at it, he looked at us, and he said apples and oranges. And in regard of between an amplifier with 3 speakers and the soundbar sounded fucking terrible. And he looked at us, we stood strong, we were staying strong, and we stood, we pretended to be diplomatic neutral, but we were like, give us a refund. We didn't say anything, and he looked at the box, he looked at us, he looked at the bus, he contemplated, and I knew in that moment he was thinking, oh, I cannot be fucked arguing. And he said, I'll give you a refund. And he took 5 minutes, he gave us a refund, total refund, and we left. We said, thank you, and he went, yeah, okay. Sound bars are shit. What happened was that either it was the day before we went to the Salvation Army at Goulburn, and we bought that over there. Do you want to see it, just for some perspective? Okay, sure. Just show you just for some perspective. Look, speakers. These are on this, right? And little speakers. This is the amplifier. I was just watching Lawrence of Arabia before. I've just been watching it over the last few days. It's that's this was from the Salvation Army at Goulburn. This is the centre speaker. See that there? Look, I'll tell you, okay? I'll tell you, okay? We walked into the Salvation Army sometime within that 48-hour period. We walked into the Salvation Army at Goulburn, and there was that Yamaha, this is 2018, am I pretty? 2018, Yamaha system amplifier, 5 speakers, $100. They just put it out on the floor. And he said, I don't know how long this is going to last. And I was looking at it, and he said, if you don't get it, I will. And it's a bullet, $100. And we told the guy at Harvard, I think we must have told the guy at Harvard, but we must have bought that as well at the same time. And he said, oh, apples and oranges. And he gave us the refund. So $100, actually, it's actually the $400 amplifier now. Blew a fuse in it during a thunderstorm. Took it to some Chinese guy in Summer Hill, and he didn't fix it properly. He just didn't fix it properly. He charged me like $90. Then took it to as he didn't fix it properly. It was out of action for a bit, like a while, a month or something, 6 weeks. And then I said to Michelle, and then I said, I'm going to get this thing fixed. I said to my partner, I'm going to get this thing fixed. I went to a place in Double Bay, and they said, look, it's an old amplifier. We can fix it for you, but it's going to cost this much. I actually can't remember how much they charged me. It was a bit outrageous. It was like, paid $300 or something to get it fixed. He said, it's going to cost a bit. That's just how it is. I said, this will be the price. And so I'm like, you know what? I paid the money out. I can't remember how much it was. It was something between, it was more than I wanted to pay. It was something like around $250 or $300. So it's gone from the $100 amplifier package to the $350 amplifier, call it $350 amplifier. Better than a $2,000 sound bullshit bar. So that's about that. And you know what? looking back now, I wish I'd never have gotten that JBL home theatre system. Never have gotten it. What a waste of fucking time. Well, honestly, for a bedroom, I had my ghetto blaster and my compact CD, which is perfect. My headphones, perfectly fine. And that's a burden on me sometimes. It's like, oh, I used it for a decade. Started to slow down on it in about 2006. Blasted it way too loud sometimes. Yeah, it was a bit obnoxious with it. Anyway, that is what happened with that. This was $100. This has been fantastic. This came with a subwoofer. The subwoofer is down in the garage. Never used the subwoofer. I don't think you need subwoofers. Good stereo system. Yeah. That is what I wanted to convey. I'm pretty. That's what I wanted to convey. I wanted to convey that. Yes. I almost forgot a very important part, darlings, a very important part. In regard of the, how did I end up paying for these? Well, about 14 months down the track, I started receiving letters from this credit company, the credit company that was attached to Bingley and to deal with the JBL speakers. A letter saying, you must make this payment by this particular date. So the date came, and the date came and went, or I left it at the very last moment, made out a check to them or something. I can't remember. All I remember was that it cost me $7 more plus postage because I had to do something weird, and they were like, we want our money. And it wasn't worth it at all. Because I received this letter from this company. I'm like, who the hell are these people? And it said this amount, and I was like, oh, this is the speakers. They want their money. And they keep sending me a letter saying the date is drawing closer. Don't forget to pay. Go here to pay us our money. I paid them, I think it was on the day that it was due. It cost me postage, and I don't know if I sent them I can't remember if I sent them a check, whatever it was. And that sent me broke. Because I had, it was most of the money that I had saved up, and it was a big mess, and fucking hell. Don't do a deal where it's like 12 months interest free. Stay away from that.